Hi, welcome to another beautiful day here in Phuket, and today we're starting off at 5-Star Marine. We're heading out on the bioluminescence tour. If you say bio tour, they'll know what you mean. And so it was, out onto the waters of Pattaya Bay. Had a fantastic day. So thank you very much to 5-Star Marine, also to Sean, Jay, the rest of the team, especially Alex, the tour guide. There will be a report which will cover the whole trip, including the bioluminescence, which is, I suppose, the reason we head out there. But a really lovely day on the bay, and thank you to everybody at 5-Star Marine. Now let's head up to Patia and talk storm drains. And the story in the Bangkok Post: Patia banks on big tunnel to end persistent floods. Now, whenever we talk about floods in Patia and Phuket, two of the most popular tourist zones in Thailand, we always seem to be talking about the same areas and the same problems year after year, but it looks, at least in Patia, that they might be doing something about it. And it says that the people of Pattaya are hopeful that a new drainage tunnel will help resolve the resort city's persistent flooding issue caused by heavy rainfall. And the Patia mayor said the tunnel project has resumed and is expected to be operational by early next year, in time for the wet season, which runs from May to October. And the coastal city is installing a 2-metre diameter drainage tunnel to address flooding. And the project encountered delays due to route adjustments from an upcoming high-speed train construction. And the idea is that they'll divert floodwater from downtown and surrounding areas to the Nak Klua Canal. And at the end, their flood risk areas include Sukhumvit Road in southern Patia and Say Sam Road. Well, fingers crossed for everybody who enjoys Patia that that may indeed be some sort of long-term solution. Now let's go to a story in Koh Samui English now. The headline there: massive cannabis haul, Thai authorities stop drugs headed to Italy and the UK. Thai authorities from the Office of Narcotics Control Board, Suvarnabhumi Airport Police and Customs Department jointly intercepted cannabis bound for Italy and the UK. And they seized 89 kilograms of cannabis in 2 separate cases involving 1 female and 2 male suspects. In the first case, the officers arrested 1 Singaporean suspect on November the 1st after discovering 19 kilograms of cannabis flowers concealed in luggage while attempting to travel to Singapore en route to Italy. Pretty lame attempt to disguise his identity there. And then on November the 2nd, they arrested 2 Malaysian suspects, 1 female, 1 male, who were scheduled to travel from Bangkok to Singapore before connecting to London. A search of their luggage revealed cannabis hidden in 4 bags, totalling 70 kilograms. So these 3 are going to be transiting in Singapore on their way to other ports with a trafficable amount of cannabis. They better thank their lucky stars that they were intercepted in Thailand, because just because you're in transit in Singapore doesn't make you safe. An Australian was executed, probably some 15 years ago now, Trong Van Nguyen. He was travelling from Vietnam to Melbourne via Singapore. He was nabbed whilst in transit in Singapore with a trafficable amount of drugs and executed. So these 3 are just plain stupid. And the article from Koh Samui English finishes by saying in both cases they were charged with attempting to export a controlled herb plant, cannabis flowers, out of the kingdom without a permit and failing to declare items according to customs law. And around half of all arrests, 184 this year, related to cannabis that originates in Thailand. 75 arrests related to cannabis originating from Canada. 47 relate to cannabis from the US. So Thailand's still a very popular transit route for drug trafficking around the world. And just because the drug laws about the use of cannabis are a bit vague here in Thailand, doesn't mean that you can traffic cannabis in or out of the country. It's our Monday TNT. It's the 4th of November. 2 articles I'm not really going to spend much time on, but I wanted to alert you to them. You might find them interesting. Firstly, a bit about the Phuket property boom, and the second one about the Destination Thailand Visa. I'll put a link to both articles in the description of this video. Going to the first one from the Bangkok Post. A closer look at Phuket's boom, and the Phuket property market's expected to prolong its growth after posting another record high this year. But concerns remain over the island's infrastructure, which needs to be improved to support long-term sustainability. As I said, I'm not going to spend much time on this article. Suffice to say that the growth of tourism, the growth of the real estate market is way ahead of the supply of infrastructure around the island. It's now become an existential problem which is threatening the future of Phuket. And a quote from one agent, "I find that property markets worldwide, including China, Bangkok, the US and Europe, are at best in a doldrum and at worst crashing down after a decade of growth, but Phuket is a remarkable exception." So a link in the description if you are interested in the real estate market in Thailand to this story about the DTV, and it's been covered in the Patia Mail. In its headline, Thailand's DTV game changer, let sleeping dogs lie for now, alluding to a few of the confusions that still remain around the DTV and the fact that we probably don't want to make too much of a fuss about them, lest there be some sort of crackdown on the way the DTV is currently used. And the article, again there's a link in the description below, says, since the introduction last July, the Destination Thailand Visa has been a rip-roaring success. Estimates on social media spread from 10,000 to 40,000, the high guess being the more likely. Well, even if it's the lower end of those estimates, 10,000 DTVs in 3 months is, I would say, a big success. And the writer notes that the commentary approval rating on the hugely popular DTV Facebook group is over 90%. DTV holders receive 180 days on entry, and there's no restriction on the repeat numbers of visits by sea, land or air. It is, after all, a 5-year multiple entry visa. So if you are interested in more information about the DTV, if you think it might suit your needs, you can go to that article in Patia Mail, link in the description of this video, and certainly quite a lot more information and analysis on the state of play on the DTV. Okay, just very briefly, talking politics today, another popularity contest, another survey. NationThailand.com reporting Pattaya Than most popular politician, according to a Suan Dusit poll. And the Prime Minister, Pattaya Than Shinawatra, is the most popular among coalition politicians with more than 50% public support. So quite a few political leaders in different parties in the coalition, and she's garnered more than 50% of the popularity in those coalition partner leaders. And the Suan Dusit poll conducted the survey among 2,136 respondents nationwide from October the 25th to the 30th and asked to name their favourite coalition politician. Pattaya Than came up with nearly 53%. Second was Anitin Charnvirakul at 26%. And the respondents named their 3 favourite opposition politicians. So the new leader of the People's Party got 37%, and 2 other MPs also garnered a lot of respect from people in the survey. And asked to cite the best accomplishments of the government, 40.1% said flood alleviation measures, closely followed by economic stimulus and cost of living measures. How quickly people forget about Pita Limjaroenrat and the Move Forward Party. Doesn't look like the People's Party, which has sort of replaced the Move Forward Party, is garnering the same sort of support. Anyway, the election is still quite a long way off at the moment. Let's have a quick talk about people investing in Thailand at the moment. How's that going? And to the BangkokPost.com headline, foreign investment in Thailand surges 60% in the first 9 months. And the spokesperson for the Prime Minister's office said a total of 636 businesses were granted permission under the Foreign Business Act. That's up 29% year on year. In terms of investment, Japan a long way ahead there with 74 billion baht, Singapore a long way behind, 12.2 billion baht, China 11.9, the US 4.4 billion, and Hong Kong 4.1 billion. So, foreign investment, an important part of Thailand's economic recovery, looks like Japan, by far, is leading the way. All right, final story from Samui. Foreigner behaving badly. Danish man with BB gun threatens Thais and a Myanmar, the whole country, in Koh Samui. And police have arrested a foreigner for threatening others with a BB gun. When police searched his room, they found BB guns, a samurai sword, an axe and short knives. And police received a complaint from a Burmese male worker who reported being threatened with death by a foreigner. Meanwhile, two more victims, two Thai women, filed additional complaints. One stated that while collecting items, she heard someone throwing objects at her car. And she saw a foreign man holding a BB gun in his right hand and a jungle knife in his left. And he shot at the car with the BB gun, saying, "Get out." I think similar words were used by a Swiss man in Phuket back in February this year. I wonder how this story is going to measure up against that one. Later, while she was riding her motorcycle on the ring road, the same foreigner drove his car in front of her, pointed a gun out the window to threaten her, causing her fear and alarm. And police later detained and charged a Mr. Asger, who's aged 31, a Danish national, who was intoxicated. So, I'll be interested to see just how much media coverage this story gets in regards to the Danish man and his alleged transgressions against Thai and Burmese people. And compare that to the amount of coverage that the Swiss man got back in Phuket in February. Thank you for watching today. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with some of the things happening around Thailand. We do look forward to bringing you that story about the bioluminescence. There's a link in the description of this video if you'd like to find 5starmarinephuket.com, but I just told you so you can type it in. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.